Hello people and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how I turned a storage space into a man cave. On a budget of just £400, I created this compact workspace with a fold-away solid oak worktop, bookshelves, a place for my stereo, hidden PC with wall-mounted hub, cupboard storage and an overhead storage area. So let's get started. First I did a design. Now if you don't have access to CAD software, just go old school, get a pencil and paper and draw up exactly what you want. Now you don't always have to take this approach, but I personally find it is good practice to create some sort of virtual model, as this helps you plan out the stages and calculate the materials required. As you can see, I did a lot of different designs. Integrated desks, smart storage. Eventually I settled on this man cave with overhead storage. Once I'd chosen a design, I ordered the materials. 2 sheets of ply, 3 sheets of 18mm MDF, 2 sheets of 8mm MDF, some PVA wood glue, 60mm screws, 90mm screws, rule plugs and a couple of other little bits and bobs which I'll go into further detail later. First I had to remove the door, architrave, door linings, and I had to do this carefully so as not to disturb the wall too much. I didn't want the plasterboard breaking away and cracking because it would have taken a lot more effort to make good afterwards. I cut through the plasterboard with a Stanley knife, very sharp blade, to expose the stud work underneath. Once I'd exposed this, I was ready to cut away the studs and open the space up to the rest of the room. Before I do that, I have to reinforce the top half of the wall because it would just collapse. So next, I put a false floor in. I used 4x2 CLS timber, 400mm spacings with 18mm ply as the flooring layer. This will handle the weight of anything you want to store up there. Now that's in, I can cut out the old stud work and clear out the waste. Now that we have cut away all the stud work, I can also clear the metalwork and the plumbing. I use an angle grinder to cut out the steel, and then I cut and cap both of the pipes with 22mm compression stop ends. This is a fairly straightforward job as long as you have turned off the water. But if you live in an old building where for some unknown reason your neighbour's plumbing runs through your house, then you will get wet. Whilst one pipe was isolated, the other pipe blew water everywhere. For an example of how to fix this, just watch this guy. This is called a snatch. It's where you take a live pipe, cut into it and quickly cap it with a tap as quick as you can and try and stop there being too much mess. And yes, I got very wet in the process. Now that's done, I can put in the ceiling and the spotlights. Again, I just use 6mm MDF as it can easily be painted and have a good finish. The spotlights are from Screwfix and they only cost £6.99 each, which is a bargain. Really easy to fit, just make sure you thread plenty of cable through to work with. Also check that the lights work with a dimmer switch because not all LED lights can be dimmed. It's time to make the shelving unit. I made this with 18mm MDF. I marked out all my cuts and used a router to cut an 18mm wide, 3mm deep track for the shelf to slot into. Using this method of gluing into slots really makes assembly very easily. I will do a video showing how to assemble sheet materials such as MDF and ply using this method, so make sure you subscribe if you want to see how to do that. Once the cupboard was in place, I fitted a false wall along the back using 8mm MDF and thin battens. I did this for 2 reasons. I wanted to run cables through the wall for the PC and a power supply to the cupboard, and 2, the wall was very old and damaged and I'm not a plasterer, so it makes sense to just cover it with a sheet. We've got the shelves in, the dimmer switch in, the ceiling's up and the shelves are in. The back wall is on, now we just need to add finishing and paint to it. You may already know that when you cut MDF, it can leave a rough face on the edge and it doesn't always paint up very well. So you buy some iron-on edging tape, which is surprisingly easy to fit, but you might have to use a chisel to flush the tape into the material after it's been ironed on. Once all that is done, I use filler to fill any broken plaster, nail on the architraves, undercoat it and paint it for a good finish. I also made a wall hub for the PC to connect to the desk, a fold-away mounted desk made from solid planked oak, soft shut doors mounted on Blum hinges. But because there's a lot of detail involved in making these, I've decided to make separate videos showing how to do that. So please like and subscribe if you want to see those other videos.